Back with Bobby and JJ Radio, we have Mr. Dan Pedrotti Jr. He's actually going to talk to us about this incredible and very veteran-friendly facility that's going to be launching from the ground up, the Valor Club. So first of all, Dan, thanks for hanging out with us today.
It's a pleasure, and I really appreciate the opportunity to tell the folks.
Good radio voice right there, dude. You might have just taken my job. All right, so let's talk about the Valor Club. So first and foremost, Military Town, USA, right? San Antonio, Texas.
Exactly.
More active, retired, and military people that outside of, I think, like D.C. and Virginia.
Yeah, it's really interesting. We're actually the only county in the United States, according to the VA, that will grow in veteran population over the next 10 years.
Wow.
So
why is that?
If you think about that.
Why is that?
It's going to be dominantly the post 9/11 veterans that are transitioning out and or go through San Antonio area, SAMC, what we all know as BAMC.
Right.
But the number of folks that come through there. And it turns out that Texas as a state is a net receiver of veterans, sort of on a demographic scale where I think there's only one other state, maybe two in the country, that's a receiver. Everybody else is a donor state. So if they transition out in North Carolina or wherever else it is, they go towards Texas and these other two states.
But there's also, I think we have 3 to 4 functional military bases at all times. So if you're a veteran and you need medicine, we're probably the place to be with SAMC and Randolph and
the Center for the Intrepid and all the other facilities. But most importantly, the people of San Antonio love veterans.
For sure.
We all do. We have that heart and soul for them, and we welcome them.
And just like Bobby's dad, he's 100% disabled, and he doesn't pay taxes in the state of Texas, property taxes. So I think all those together, when you kind of lump all those different features, I think anyone that's been in any of the armed forces, they just say San Antonio is kind of the spot.
Well, and we want to be that. I mean, we continually top out in the studies and the polls and other things that are done as the number one city to go to.
For sure.
And every one of us that lives here and has been here for a while feels we're grateful for that.
And San Antonio, when pitched to other companies like Toyota, we tell them you can golf here around 11 months out of the year, right?
I love that.
Yeah. So let's transition into this. Okay, so we have where Bobby used to grow up, this golf course that you guys are now going to make into this incredible transition for veterans. Is that correct? Talk about the Valor Club. Where is it at?
So the notion of the Valor Club, the inspired plan, and as Russell was talking about earlier, the clients of the client, if you will, being veterans. We all know that the transitional process comes with a certain number of challenges, and we can track that, particularly among post 9/11 veterans, that the challenges are out in front of us every day. We hear about this unacceptable 22 a day suicide rate. We hear about the challenges of trying to get through the different processes and get the other services, and they're spread all over the place. And oftentimes these proud men and women who's done so much to serve this country and offered to pay the ultimate price are frustrated by what they're left with, and then ultimately what we see time and time again is they end up isolated, which is a bizarre thing for someone who's in the military, because there was no chance for isolation in the military. Right? You were part of a unit, you were part of a battle group, you were part of a fighting force, and you were part of the most elite, most powerful thing on planet Earth.
Right.
And now you're out fending for yourself, trying to figure it out, and you don't really have a lot of experience as a civilian. And we need to grab them. And statistically, JJ, from 0 to 3 years after transition is when this stuff comes crashing down around a veteran. And the family gets broken up and all the things are lost and this isolation sets in. So the Valor Club is really pointed at from the time you leave the military and your service is concluded to 3 years, 4 years, 5 years out. We want to have a stable place that's safe and secure and affordable and proper and dignified to deal with your transitional issues and needs. And the best way I know how to do it, and Russell will tell you the same thing, is establish and build a community, a master plan community, a place where there's lots of you together again, dealing with the same issues and such.
Sure.
And so you can depend on your brothers and sisters to support you in the darkest times.
For sure.
And make sure that you don't get sunk.
I love it. So looking at this brochure, which is incredible, by the way, for the Valor Club, doing the numbers, there's 22 million veterans in America. 32% are Gulf and post 9/11, and then 33%, 1 out of 3 are Vietnam. Only 1 out of 4 are peacetime.
Right.
So just 1 out of 4 veterans have not experienced war.
Exactly.
Right. And then you even have WW2 in Korea, which is still about 10%. But this is really going to be covering that 32% you feel like Gulf War and post 9/11. That's the new crop of veterans, but it's for everyone.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and one important, I wouldn't say important, one critical component of a good community is, and the ones I relate to most closely, although I'm not one of them, is Vietnam-era veterans. The fact that there's so many of them that are still with us and that are still busily going about things in their lives, we need them to be a part of this community to serve as not only a mentor and a helper, but also just a symbol. You can do this, son. You
Sure.
can do this, young lady. You can get through this. I did.
Sure.
You know, and trust me, in Vietnam, I wasn't treated like a hero like the rest of you guys are. So, you know, I'm here to help. And the beauty of that is, in a community setting like this, the mentor becomes a beneficiary too, because he or she's got a whole new mission and purpose in life.
For sure.
So I think they get older better and serve a greater purpose.
Right.
And, oh, by the way, there's going to be a bunch of replacement grandkids hanging around the Valor Club, so you can do some of that too.
For sure.
Can you talk about some of the amenities that you're going to have here?
Yeah, so this is on the site of what was Pecan Valley Golf Club, the one that we all know and love. We're going to put golf back. The new golf course will be built, and it is designed and will be built with accommodations taken into account for persons with disabilities. We'll also have specialized golf cars and other equipment to aid those that have a changed physical issue to overcome. We're big on the teaching facility at the property. It's huge and very, very comprehensive, and it'll be staffed with the people that are dialed into the needs of not just veterans, but also persons with disabilities, of whether you're a veteran or not. We have an extension of the Salado Creek Hike and Bike Trail comes through here, which is going to be awesome. It puts us 6.5 miles from Fort Sam Houston by the Hike and Bike Trail. And down in the lower southeast corner of the site, we're planning what we call the Valor Dome. The Valor Dome is a
Sounds serious.
Olympic/Paralympic style. I have to say the word style because while we've discussed it with the United States Olympic Committee, we're not yet approved by them. But the idea is to have an Olympic training and competition venue that includes a velodrome, which is a cycling track that we don't have in San Antonio right now.
For sure.
And the last and perhaps most important piece is what we call the Veteran and Family Transition Center, which is an office building and community center combined where other veteran service organizations and other professionals that are helping with the transitional issues can have an office space and a presence, and a community center where we can serve community-wide dinners and have other functions, and we'll have reunions or something that different battle groups and different subgroups of the military love to have, and we'll have facilities for that. So we've got housing, single-family housing, detached. We've got apartments. We have this wonderful golf course. We have a Olympic/Paralympic training facility, the Valor Dome, the Veteran and Family Transition Center, and we still have, as good real estate developers, we have other land that's to be determined because we really don't know who all wants to join us yet in the mission.
Yeah, I'm looking at just this proposed site, and it looks like it's incredible. It looks like something that veterans should have exposure to, because it's like one of the nicer. I mean, us being in real estate, we see really nice developments for everyone else. We might as well have some for some veterans right now.
Well, I think the flip side of that, JJ, is that it's also that it's a place, right? It's real estate development. It's not an initiative per se, but it being a place, it's also where those civilians like myself can go and spend that time with the veterans and actually get to know them at the next several levels of friendship and relationship. So.
And let's talk a little bit more about this support paradigm. So someone gets out of the military and they're just all these different agencies that are supposed to help them, but it's a lot. It's a lot of red tape. It's a lot of confusion. They go from a very structured life. I think Bobby and my dad were both 20 plus years, and they went through it as well. Very structured life, and then it goes into very unstructured life really quick, and they just don't really know where to turn or what to do. and like you said, they kind of just feel a little bit like almost thrown aside or put aside a little bit. But with this type of development, you feel like the first 3 years, after those 3 years, do you feel that the people would still need to be in the development, or it would just kind of be a transition on out?
Yeah, that's a great question. And the magic number, I'm going to call it between 0 and 5 years. And by the way, you don't have to start at 0. You find your way to the Valor Club and find a spot in the Valor Club. You're 100% welcome. We are trying to make certain that the housing is exclusive for veterans and their families. But beyond that, the transition process happens at a different pace for everybody. That's just the organics of being human beings. When we bring you into the development, though, we're kind of adopting you. I think some of the veteran service organizations we want to have there have almost a social, I'm going to say social worker or a social consciousness about following you on a case basis through your transition process and making sure. But ultimately the dynamic of military folks coming together, if the four of us were accustomed to having a round of golf at 8 o'clock every Thursday morning, that's our thing. That's what we do. And Russell shows up 10 minutes late one day, or he is not there in time to practice and warm up like he always does.
Or Bobby doesn't show up at all.
And Bobby skips 2 of them.
That sounds about right.
You and I are going to get together, and we're going to go, if we have to, kick down Russell's door and say, what's going on?
Right.
And we're going to go to Bobby and say, what the hell? You've let us down, and we're worried that something's off for you, and we're here to fix that. We're here to make sure you understand your buddies are here. We got your 6. We're going to take care of this.
Just how they were when they're probably in the military.
Exactly, precisely. If we can keep them together, instead of you living in Mississippi and you living in North Carolina and Russell living in Hawaii, like we know he wants to do.
Why did Russell get Hawaii?
Well, it's Russell. He's the big red dog. We're all in one place, at least for a while. And you know, this live, play, thrive theme that we have is not, those aren't hollow words, and they're not cute words. They are, live means I have my place. It's proper, dignified. It's safe and secure, and I can afford it. So I can check my box. My family's situated. I'm situated.
Like
whatever the circumstances.
Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right?
It's exactly Maslow's hierarchy. It's precisely that. Play is really therapy. Play is spending time with your buddies that actually understand, not some knucklehead civilian that's trying to pander to it.
Right.
But the whole goal is thrive. Get centered. Regain your confidence.
Become a part of something bigger.
Go in service to others. Get a job. Become an Olympian. Whatever your dream is. Before
we leave for this show, y'all can't just do this on your own. You guys are definitely going to look for the San Antonio community to help out.
That's probably the most novel thing about it. It's a first and only project, like so much that we get to do here in San Antonio and as real estate developers. But this is, in fact, a nonprofit charitable effort, and we are dependent on donations, big and small, to help us achieve the dream. Fortunately, we're in San Antonio.
Right. So they can, and anyone listening or watching the YouTube, they can go to valorclub.org.
www.thevalorclub.org.
Thevalorclub.org. Dan, thank you for your service, brother. And we had a great show. We will see you next Sunday. If you missed any of this, you go to bobbyandjzradio.com, be a fan of the show. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. See you next week.
Bye.